Alrighty then, guys, it's finally here. Today, I'll be giving you some Reaper tips on how to fight every hero. As you can see, since the start of Overwatch 1, we've had 825 hours on Reaper. Damn, I need to touch grass. I've been in high GM, top 500 since the start of Overwatch 1 pretty much, and also the start of Overwatch 2 every season. So, hopefully, these tips today will help you climb like they did with me. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best Reaper player there is, but if these tips helped me climb to top 500, trust me, you lot can as well. It just takes time, and I know the Overwatch rank system right now is really bad, but honestly, I believe you lot can climb. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into it, and I'll go through each hero and how I play against them. So we'll start on the tanks. The first tank is D.Va. When playing against a D.Va, I like to try to get her out of her mech before I ult, so that she doesn't get the chance to eat my spin. You can beat a D.Va in a 1v1 as long as you dodge her rockets. However, be careful if you do use Wraith, as her teammates might pick you off as you have no escape since you use Wraith to dodge her rockets. Always aim for the center of her mech, as that will do the most damage due to Reaper's spread, and that's where her head is as well. If she uses D.Va Bomb and you don't have Wraith, then you can actually use your TP to dodge it. It might be tricky at first, but if you learn this, then it could save your life, and it can also save your Wraith. When she tries to re-mech, you want to keep shooting her so that before she flies off, she gets out of her mech again, which causes her to stagger even more time. Also, don't get too close to her, as if you don't kill her in time and she does manage to get in her mech, then you might get squished. So keep a bit of distance to her, but also get close enough to try and do as much damage as you can. The next hero we'll be looking at is Doomfist. Don't be scared of Doomfist punch unless it's charged. If it is charged and you are low, then use your Wraith to dodge his attack. If you are full health and have your team near you ready to heal you, then you can take the charged punch as long as you have a lot of health. When Doomfist is blocking, don't shoot him if he is at full health, but if he is low and blocking, then sometimes it's actually better to just keep shooting him, even if he is blocking, as you might be able to kill him. When Doomfist ults, just keep checking the ground around you as you don't want to get squished. You can use your Wraith to dodge it, or if you quickly move away from the center of it, you will survive but might be slow after. However, you should Wraith his ult if you are really low and you know you're going to get squished. You might be able to TP out of it as well, but you can most of the time just walk away from it if you're quick enough. Just keep looking at the ground and you should be fine. If you're about to ult, then watch out for Doom's punch, as it can cancel your ult, so try to remember the last time he used his punch ability, as it takes him 4 seconds to get his punch back. So that's how long you have to use your ult if he is near you. Be careful though, as his block gives him his punch back if it gets charged. Next, we have Junker Queen. Out of all the tanks, I'd say Junker Queen is definitely the toughest one to kill. Her Scream gives her a lot of bonus health and also movement speed. But what makes her really bad is how small her hitbox is for a tank. Therefore, Reaper's spread isn't as effective when going against her, so you really have to get close to do damage. If you're about 3 meters or more away from her, I usually just aim for the center of her body like usual. Once you get closer to her though, like every other hero, aim for the head, as it will do a lot of damage to her. You can maybe even 2-shot her at a push, but most of the time it takes a 3-shot. When I see Junker Queen preparing to cut my head off with her axe, I use my Wraith to dodge it, as her axe swing does 90 impact damage and then 40 bleed. That's basically half your health. Plus, if you dodge her axe, it slows her cooldown to get her axe back, and she won't gain any lifesteal from you. Junker Queen's shotgun is a bit like Rodog's right-click fire, so be careful when firing her at range, as she'll do more damage than you. So try to get as close as possible to her, otherwise she'll probably win. When I know she has Scream, I try to put as much damage I can into her to hopefully bait out her Scream. This will help my team and I kill her. Be careful solo ulting a Junker Queen though, as if she has full health and Scream, then she can actually survive a full Death Blossom. If Junker Queen ults you, you can just use your TP to cleanse the effect, or you can use your Wraith as well to cleanse the effect. You don't want to keep bleeding. Just try and do it as quick as possible. The next hero is Orisa. Orisa can be a really tricky one. Her gold makes it near impossible to kill her, especially if she has healers with her. She also has a javelin, which makes it tricky to get close to her, and she can also spin her javelin to stop any damage apart from beams. So, usually what I try to do is ignore the Orisa and target the supports or DPS instead. If you kill her supports, then it'll make it a lot easier for your team to kill her. When it comes to her javelin, I usually use my Wraith to dodge it. Orisa's javelin does 60 damage on impact, and if it hits you into a wall, it also does an extra 40 damage, which means it'll do 100 damage overall, and it can temporarily stun you, which could also cause you to die. If you notice that the Orisa has used all her abilities, then that is the time you want to get as close to her as possible and do that damage. She's a really large tank, so Reaper's spread is very effective against her. So keep doing that damage when she has no abilities, as you will probably kill her in like a few shots. When she uses her ult, if I'm on full health or high health, I usually just stay next to her and pump some damage into her. Even though she's gold, you can still do quite a bit of damage if you're really close to her. I do this before I use my Wraith to get out of her ult, as you might actually kill her or make her panic and use her ult, which might save some of your teammates. If you don't have Wraith for her ult, then your best bet is to just TP out as soon as possible or just get away as fast as you can. The next hero is Ramattra. Ramattra is actually really nice to go against for me as Reaper, because when he turns into build mode and starts punching you, his hitbox obviously becomes a lot bigger, which helps a lot because Reaper's spread is massive. So once again, I get as close as possible to him and keep putting that pressure on him so my team can hopefully pick off the others. If he uses his slowdown ability, then I usually just move out of it if I'm not being pressured. But if I'm low or see a Widow or something looking at me, I use my Wraith to get away safely. I try to save my Wraith as much as possible though. If he uses his Void Barrier, then it's pointless to keep shooting it as it has 1,000 health. And it goes down anyway pretty quick. However, if your team is shooting it and you obviously see it's doing a lot of damage to the shield, then shoot back at the shield. If you are in a 1v1 with him and he uses his Void Barrier, then your best bet is to TP behind him or keep moving in between the shield to do damage to him. When Ramattra ults, you can actually still beat him. Keep moving unpredictably so you can dodge his punches and get as close as possible to him to do as much damage as possible. However, if you have Wraith, then you can actually use your Wraith and just wait out his ult or get to safety. Next is Reinhardt. Reinhardt is also really nice to go against, as he is a very large tank, which you can also put pressure on him from a further distance, as he only has a hammer. When I see Ryan with no armor, that is the time to get as close as you can, because you can kill him in like 2 or 3 shots if you just hug him and he's using his shield. I tend not to get close to Ryan if he has armor, as he can beat you then. Obviously, don't get close to him if you are low on health. Just keep your distance, as you'll still do a lot of damage to him and he won't be able to do anything back apart from fire strikes. You just gotta dodge him. Also, keep shooting his shield to help your tank win in the tank diff, as Orion with no shield makes him extremely vulnerable and your whole team can just damage him and he'll be useless, especially ranged heroes. It makes him useless against them. When it comes to his fire strikes, I usually just tank or dodge them. They do 100 damage each, so keep an eye on your health when you see one approaching you. Obviously, try and dodge it though. When I see a Ryan pinning to me, and if I know I can't dodge it, I use my Wraith to dodge it, or sometimes I pray that I can TP away just in time. However, if Ryan is pinning away and you see him low on health, use your TP to catch up to him, so hopefully you can kill him before he gets healed. When it comes to Ryan's ult, I try to predict it with my Wraith, as you might be able to bait it out. Just try to think, when was the last time Ryan used his ult? If it's been more than a minute, then he'll probably have it, so get ready to Wraith it. Lots of Ryan players tend to ult when they are low, or obviously if your team are all grouped together, so try to be prepared for it. But there are some solo ulters out there, so get ready to get solo squished. Next is the Kraken, also known as Roadhog. Reaper is a really strong counter for Roadhog due to the size of him. The only thing you have to be careful of is his hook and his right click range damage. The amount of times his right click has one-shotted me from a certain distance is insane. When I know Roadhog has his hook, I try to bait out his hook with my Wraith so I can then do full damage to him without taking massive damage from him hooking me. Be careful though, as this will obviously use your Wraith, so if you do it with no supports around you, you might get picked off by their team. However, if it's just you and Roadhog, then always bait out his hook with Wraith and then get as close to him as possible to do as much damage and get as much lifesteal from him. If he misses his hook before you even Wraith, then that's a bonus. You can then use your Wraith to quickly reload and then kill him faster or get out safely. Only do that though if it's safe and you aren't low. When Roadhog ults, if I'm in a safe-ish distance where his minigun won't kill me instantly, I just let his ult push me away and not waste my Wraith or my TP. But again, use your Wraith if you are low though. So just let him push you away, as there isn't a point in pushing a hog with his minigun unless he's distracted on one of your teammates. Then get close to him, but make sure you have Wraith in case he turns his attention to you. If Roadhog right clicks you before he hooks you, you are most likely dead. But if the Roadhog doesn't right click you and you get hooked, hold the Wraith button, as you might be able to Wraith away before he can one-shot you. Next, we have the Melody Man. Sigma can be a tricky one. When he uses his rock, I like to use my Wraith to avoid the stun and damage. However, before uncloaking, make sure your supports can see you, as you might unwraith to do damage to him and take a massive amount of damage trying to kill him. Once you see Sigma use his Eat ability, that is when I like to get as close as possible to him. Obviously, whilst he's using Kinetic Grasp, don't shoot into it. Either shoot someone else or just keep punching him so you don't allow him to gain extra health. A key thing to remember is that if you can get Sigma to use his Kinetic Grasp and his Disrupt, then that will allow you to potentially get a good ult, since Sigma can't counter you then. When it comes to Sigma's shield, I always destroy it as fast as I can so my team can do damage to their team, and so that I can do damage to Sigma. Be careful when pushing a Sigma with his shield, as Sigma can do a lot of damage to you behind his shield. Since the latest Reaper nerf, you can no longer Wraith if you are in Sigma's ult. So, I either TP away the second I hear him ult, or I Wraith before I get lifted to stop some damage from happening to me. If you time it perfectly, you should be able to Wraith out his ult. Winston. Winston is a blessed tank to face when playing Reaper. His hitbox is huge, so you can do a ton of damage to him when he jumps in and dives on your team. Winston players like to dive the squishies, so if I know Winston is about to dive the healers or other DPS, I usually stay near them to protect them and maybe even get the kill on Winston. Winston's bubble can be very annoying, but what I do is I just get as close to him as possible and just weave through the shield. So hopefully you should be able to kill him, but he might get away just. It's all down to your aim and how he positions. If he starts beating you due to the bubble, then just Wraith out and get heals from your team. Hopefully your team will help in destroying the bubble, which will make it a lot easier for you to kill the Winston. When it comes to Winston's primal rage, it's steak dinner. Just don't let him smack you into a corner, and you should be able to get a lot of ult charge and lifesteal from Winston, as long as you dodge some of his jumps into you. If he's low and tries jumping away, you can sometimes chase him down with your TP and Wraith, but be careful as you don't want to TP or Wraith into his team. Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball is a fun but also annoying tank to go against this Reaper. Wrecking Ball players tend to do the same as Winston, and that is dive the supports or dive the other DPS in your team. I tend to stay near my supports then when there is a ball, or keep checking on them so ball doesn't get as much value. If ball challenges you, then you can easily out heal his damage with lifesteal. Just aim for the center of his body unless he's right in your face. That's when you should aim for Hammond, who's at the top. If you see a ball about to squish you and you know that you are safe and don't need Wraith, then I use my Wraith just before he tries to squish me, so he doesn't lift me up in the air. This will help prevent you from taking any damage and also allow you to aim better. If you see ball rolling towards you with the speed of light and are below 50 health, then use Wraith, as it will kill you if you don't. You could be brave and shoot him just before you get hit, so you survive the hit, but best bet is just Wraith. If he uses his shields whilst fighting you, that's even better, as you will now gain more ult charge from him, and you'll stay alive due to lifesteal. If you are low and need to reload, but you have Wraith, then don't be afraid to use your Wraith and then quickly cancel it to reload for you. Then you should be able to survive from lifesteal as long as it's only ball shooting you and you aim well. When I see ball using his mines and see people are going to die to his ult, I like to use my ult to save them from the mines. If he uses his mines to try and kill you, then obviously you just Wraith away, but if you don't have Wraith, then your best bet is to try and TP away as early as possible. Next, we have Zarya. Zarya is a bit of a weird one. The first thing you've got to remember is to not shoot her bubble as much as possible. Literally, just let her beam you if she has no charge, or when she uses a bubble, focus someone else or run away from her. Facing a Zarya with little to no charge is so much easier to kill than a Zarya with high charge. Plus, it'll help your team a lot if you stop charging her up. When you know she has no bubbles, that is when you want to go for the kill. However, if you get her very low and she uses a bubble, then it's okay to shoot a bubble and destroy it, as long as you are confident you will kill her, as you don't want to give her all that charge for free. Since the Reaper nerf, Zarya is a bit like Sigma with ults. You have to try and Wraith before she grabs you, otherwise you will probably just die to grab unless your team have good ults like Zen ult or something. If that's too difficult to predict, then keep in mind as to when was the last time she used her ult. If you're confident she has it, then just stay away from it or split away from your team. Be careful spinning near a Zarya as well, because if she has bubbles, she can just tank your ult and just beam you. You won't be able to do anything to survive. Alright, that's all the tanks. Now it's time to move on to the DPS. The first DPS to talk about is Ashe. Ashe is a tricky one to go against, especially if they have a Mercy Pocket. When fighting an Ashe, I try to teleport on them and then instantly Wraith to hopefully bait out a Coach Gun to not get booted back as well. However, this is extremely risky as you'll be using Wraith, so make sure your team can back you up, especially your supports. If you successfully bait out the Coach Gun, then get as close to her as possible and aim for the head if she's right in your face. But if she's about 3 meters away, then aim for the body. If she has a Mercy Pocket, then try to get Mercy first if she is next to Ashe. If Ashe didn't use her Coach Gun when you TP'd onto her, then just get out with your Wraith, as pushing an Ashe with Coach Gun is suicide. especially if she has a Mercy with her. If Ashe sends her dynamite onto you, then use your TP and not your Wraith to cleanse the burning effect. This will save your Wraith, which in most cases is more useful, and will prevent her from getting bobbers quick. When you use TP, look straight to the ground to stay in the same spot, unless you want to use TP to get somewhere else. When Ashe uses Bob, most of the time it is a free kill if Bob is left alone. Get in Bob's face and just shoot him. However, if Ashe or someone else is protecting Bob, be careful as Bob's lifesteal might not be enough to save you from the damage. The next DPS we'll be looking at is Bastion. Bastion is actually really easy to go against since his hitbox is massive. All you've got to do is wait out his minigun, and that's when you want to get as close to him as possible and kill him. His sticky can be annoying, so use your Wraith if he sticks you when you're really low. But overall, going against Bastion is fairly simple. Just make sure not to give him range. When Bastion ults, just look at the ground and simply dodge the affected area. If you can't escape his ult, then either use your Wraith or get out with TP before he uses it to hopefully get away. You can beat Bastion when he uses minigun sometimes, but it is more risky. I just tend to wait out his minigun mode and then push him because it's a lot easier to kill him. But if you're confident enough to push a Bastion when he's minigunning, try and do it when he's distracted, as it will make it a lot easier for you. Next up, we have Cassidy on McRightclick. Now, before the magnetic grenade change, he wasn't really a problem for Reaper, but since his grenade can now stop him from using Wraith, it makes him a big counter again. I treat his grenade the same way I did in Overwatch 1 when he had a flashbang. I either get him to half health to hopefully get him to panic and throw his grenade, which I hopefully use Wraith to avoid it, or I use Wraith the second I see him, as sometimes Cassidy players throw the grenade instantly. I would try using Wraith straight away first to see if he likes to just throw nade the second he sees you, but if he doesn't, then it's probably best to get him to half health and then use Wraith to avoid his grenade. Cassidy has a lot of range compared to Reaper, so pushing a Cassidy in the open from far away is just suicide. You want to try and use your TP to get as close to him as possible without dying or without him seeing you. The closer you are to him, the more effective you are and the less effective he is. When it comes to high noon, I like to sometimes challenge it if I'm on full health. If he high noons right in front of you and you have full health, don't be afraid to try and kill him. But you want to use your Wraith if you lose even a little bit of health, or if he has been looking at you with high noon for around 2 seconds. Next, we have the Moth Echo. It's not your job to deal with Echo, as you'll find it a really hard time trying to get close to her since she can fly, and she will also most likely have a Mercy with her. If you have to fight an Echo, then you want to try and TP to a high place to get as close to her as possible. And also make sure you Wraith her sticky grenades, especially if she has a damage boost, since it'll probably kill you. If you are half health and see the Moth death staring you, then either Wraith towards a medkit or a healer, as she will most likely be looking at you to try and use the Beam of Christ on you. But overall, it's not your job to deal with Echo. Genji. Genji is actually not that bad to go against. When you know a Genji is up close to you, try to bait out his deflect by shooting once and then punching. I know melee won't do any damage, but it's better than shooting him and getting that damage deflected back on you. If he uses his dash on you and doesn't kill you, then let others know so they can help kill him, since he'll probably be in a bad position. If he dashes and makes you 1 HP, then Wraith away to your supports if possible. If you hear him using Dragon Blade and he's looking at you, try to bait his dash to you before you Wraith so he wastes his ult. Be careful when you ult near a Genji, as if he has deflect, then he'll most likely deflect your ult back at you, killing you. Ah, good old Bowman. Hanzo is one, if not the biggest Reaper counter. His damage is insane, so when you go to fight him, your best bet is to Wraith into him and confuse him so he loses track of you, and then you can unwraith and hopefully kill him. If you see that Hanzo has walls on you with Sonic Arrow, then you don't want to peek for around 5 seconds, as if you do, then he'll most likely just headshot you. If Hanzo is watching an open area, you want to never step into the open, as Hanzo has the range on you and you don't have any cover. You can push open areas if you stay behind your team or if you have a shield. You always want to try and get the jump on Hanzo, and I do this by teleporting behind him without him seeing me. However, this is a big risk, as if he does notice you, then he'll probably headshot you the second you come out of TP. If he does notice you and you have already started to TP into him, then hold the Wraith button so you have a chance of surviving when you come out of TP. When it comes to his ult, I usually just use my Wraith to stop the dragons doing any damage, or I use my TP to get away from the dragons, or just step aside. Next, we have Junkrat. Junkrat is actually a really tough hero to go against this Reaper. Since you have to get close to do damage to him, it gives him a massive advantage since he can just hit a shot on you and then a mine. It won't kill you, but it will make you 1 HP. So, usually I don't push a Junkrat unless he has no mines. Once he has no mines, it's actually quite easy to kill him as long as you keep a medium range distance on him. I know the closer you get to him, the more damage you will do, but the further away you are from him, the less likely he's going to hit a grenade on you. And if you don't have mines, then he can't do any damage at all. Or, your best bet is to sneak up on him. Watch out for his traps now, because if you step in it, you can no longer use Wraith. So watch your step when you know they've got a Junkrat. When you hear him ult, keep an eye out for it and let your team know where it is if you see it. If you think you can destroy it, then shoot it. But if it starts getting a little too close to you, then use your Wraith or TP away first, then use your Wraith to avoid it. You can even try and bait it with your Wraith by timing it perfectly, but that is pretty risky. Mei is annoying to go against this Reaper. If you go too aggressive against her, she will most likely wait for you to use your Wraith to get out, and then she will use her Ice Wall to trap you. So you've got to either take that risk or play safe by playing with your tank. Be aware that Mei has a lot of range on Reaper since she can right click and shoot icicles at you. So try to sneak up on her or dodge her icicles. If you see a teammate that has been walled off by Mei, break the wall so they can escape and hopefully survive. When it comes to her ult, I usually just Wraith out of it or try to save my Wraith and use my TP instead. Her ult shouldn't really be an issue as long as you have your abilities. Pharah. Pharah is another big counter for Reaper, especially if she has a Mercy with her. She can do so much damage to you and you can't do any back unless you TP at high ground and shoot or maybe spin her in the air. So it's a bit like Echo really. It's not your job to deal with her. However, you can play around her. If they have a Pharah Mercy, then you want to target the other healer. If you kill the other healer, try to guard the res from Mercy as this will mess up their team's heals as they'll force Mercy to try and heal the rest of the team then, leaving Pharah more vulnerable. If you are going to challenge a Pharah Mercy's Reaper, you want to get as close to them as possible and focus the Mercy first, as if you kill Pharah first, Mercy will most likely just res her. If you are near the edge of the map and know Pharah has her boop ability, get ready to use TP if she boops you off the map. I see a lot of Reaper players try to Wraith back instead of using TP. If you know she has her ult, be ready and prepared to Wraith away as her ult will most likely kill you instantly as she is very quiet and will sneak up on you. So stay alert and keep an eye out for her. But like I said, it's not your job to kill the Pharah, but you can help if they go Pharah Mercy by shooting Mercy to stop her from getting self-heal. Next is the Reaper guy. When it comes to Reaper 1v1s, it's all about who uses Wraith first and who has the better aim. I don't really go against Reaper players since there's barely any Reaper players in top 500 EU. If you see their Reaper use Wraith first, you will most likely shoot them faster as long as you have good reaction times. However, if you get the other Reaper low and they Wraith, use your Wraith to chase them down to stop them from TPing away. Only chase them with Wraith if you know it's safe to chase them. If you are fighting a Reaper and they are low, but you are about to run out of ammo, use your Wraith and cancel Wraith quickly to reload faster, which will hopefully allow you to kill them quicker. However, be careful as you are using Wraith to do this. If their Reaper uses spin when you're on full health, don't be afraid of him. Just get as close to him as possible and shoot him in the head until he dies. Using spin in a Reaper 1v1 when the other Reaper is on full health is the worst thing you can do, as the Reaper not spinning, if they hit their shots, will win the fight. If you are low and the Reaper starts spinning though, use Wraith as you probably won't kill him in time. However, the more people in that Reaper's spin, the more lifesteal the spinning Reaper will get, so be careful when doing this as well. Blue Light. Sojourn is another good counter for Reaper. She can escape him quickly with her slide ability, and her railgun when fully charged can do a lot of damage if you are hitting the head. So it's best to not push a Sojourn in the open and always try to flank her or use your tank as a shield. Most of the time a Sojourn will have a Mercy with them too. This makes it a lot more tricky killing him. So if they do have a Mercy with them, if you dive them, try to kill the Mercy first unless Sojourn is legit right in your face. However, if it's just a Sojourn, you want to wait for her to use her slide ability, and that's when you want to TP on her. This will give you a better chance of killing her before she can slide away again. Only push her if you have Wraith, as her railgun does a lot of damage. If you see the blue light, you best start praying. That thing will almost kill you if hit in the head at full charge, so try to dodge it by using Wraith if you have to. If she uses her Disruptor shot, then just step away from it. Or if you are really low, then use Wraith or TP to get out. If you hit, you're dead. Nothing you do unless you TP out quick enough and escape from her or hide. If you are in the open and don't have Wraith and she's looking at you, you are most likely dead unless she potatoes. Soldier. Soldier is not too bad to go against, but can also be tricky. If you're going to dive a Soldier with TP, try to not let him see you when TPing, as if he does, he'll most likely get a few headshots on you before you TP to him, and then he'll just rocket you when you TP next to him, which will either kill you or force you to Wraith away. If he doesn't see you, then do as much damage to him as possible if he starts running away. Then chase him with Wraith to keep up to him. Only chase him with Wraith if you know he's not running to his team. I like to push a Soldier when he's not aware to where I am, and also when he has used his rockets or his biotic field. If you hear Soldier using his ult, then just hide or use Wraith to get to cover and wait for his aimbot to run out. You can be ballsy and challenge him, but you better hit them shots and get as close as possible. Next is Sombra, the rat herself. If you see Sombra trying to hack you or one of your teammates, then just shoot her. Even if she's far away, this will stop her from hacking. If you don't see her and she starts hacking you, use Wraith to cancel the hack process. If she does manage to hack you, I instantly Wraith the second I can, or use my TP if it's safe to do so, as then you don't waste Wraith. You want to cleanse the hack effects as soon as possible, either by Wraithing or TPing, as if you don't, you'll take more damage and the enemy team will have walls on you. Be careful when using Spin, as she can cancel your ult with a normal hack or even EMP. If you see her about to use her EMP, then use Wraith before so you don't lose any health and don't take any additional damage. Also, keep in mind that Sombra does quite a lot of ranged damage, so just be careful if you're pushing her from a distance. Symmetra. Symmetra is a pain in the ass due to her turrets and her TP and also her ult. She legit microwaves you. If you see her charging a beam off your tank, then try to help them by shooting her and scaring her away or killing her, as your tank is legit getting cooked. Especially Ryan's. Sims love to go against Ryan's. If Sim uses her TP to engage on you, shoot the TP first, not her. If you break her TP, she can't TP back, and you'll most likely kill her if she's not fully charged. And it'll make her in a bad position. Always destroy your turrets if possible, as they slow you down, do some damage, and gives the enemy team walls on you. Her right click recently got buffed, which can do 100 damage if fully charged, so be aware of that. Try not to push a Sim that's fully charged, as she will cook you alive. Her ult is really strong. It creates a giant shield wall for all their team and has a lot of health. Your best bet is to wait the wall out, or try to move in between the wall and shoot her or her teammates. Try not to spin when she has a wall up unless you know you will get a few kills. Torbjorn. Torb isn't too bad to go against this Reaper. It can be tricky going against this Torb, especially since he has Overload, which gives him more health and increases his fire rate. So try and push him when he doesn't have Overload. But if you do challenge him when he has Overload, you can still beat him in a 1v1. Torb's hitbox is pretty chunky, so Reaper's spread is good against him. It usually takes about 2 or 3 shots to kill him, but be careful since he does have a shotgun too. Try to flank the Torb or TP next to him, as if you push him in the open, he does have range and a turret, which will most likely force you to Wraith away before you can even reach him. If you do dive a Torb when he's next to a turret, try to kill Torb first, but if you see the chance to kill the turret first, then go for it. If you can kill Torb before the turret looks at you, then shoot Torb. The turret does a decent amount of damage, so beware. If you see him molten core, just try to avoid it, but if he jizzed all around you, then either TP out or use Wraith to get out. Tracer the Rat. Tracer is really annoying to go against this Reaper. She's so skinny for a DPS that it makes it really hard to hit her. Especially with Reaper's spread now, it makes it a lot tougher to get some shots on her. If you're about 3 meters or so away from Tracer, it usually takes about 2 shots in the chest to kill her and also 2 in the head. But if she's right in your face, then just aim for the head. If you force her to recall but you are low, then it's best to just Wraith away, since she will recall back to full health and most likely just kill you. When I shoot Tracer, I usually click shot and not just hold down left click. I try to predict her blinks or react to them as fast as I can. If she sticks you, use Wraith to unstick yourself. However, a lot of Tracers tend to not stick you unless they know you've used Wraith. Don't be afraid of Tracer though. I see a lot of Reapers instantly Wraith away from it, as you can potentially beat her in a 1v1 if you can aim well and predict her blinks. You can still do a lot of damage to it. If she gets close to you, you can still force her away. But if you get low, then just Wraith away back to your supports. The last DPS we have is Widowmaker. Widowmaker is another big counter to Reaper since she has a lot of range on him and can get away from you by using her grapple if you TP on her. Especially try to stay out of her sight, as if you push her in the open, you will most likely just get headshotted. You want to stay out of her sight which will then allow you to hopefully sneak up on her or TP on her and then put pressure on her. It's not really your job to deal with a Widow, but if you have a dive tank like Winston, then help him by diving with him on her, or wait for her to grapple away from Winston and TP on her. If you do TP on her and she doesn't have a grapple, use your Wraith to get as close to her as possible, then spin inside her to confuse her on where you are, and then you can hopefully just kill her. You want to jump when unwraithing, as Widow players tend to predict that you will crouch after unwraithing. You might get shot in the body, but it could save you from a headshot. If you get Venom Mind, then either use TP to cleanse the effect or Wraith, or just wait it out and stay in a safe place. If she uses her walls on you, then either wait out her ult before peeking or stay behind your team. There's no point trying to flank when the whole enemy team can see you. Now we're on the supports. The first support is Ana, also known as Granny. Granny is one, if not the biggest support counter for Reaper. She has a sleep dart which can cancel his ult or just leave him very vulnerable, and she has a nade which stops Reaper from gaining lifesteal. So you want to push an Ana when she doesn't have her abilities, or if she's used at least one. I sometimes push her when she has nade and sleep, but I do this usually to distract her. If I TP on her, I Wraith out straight away to bait out the sleep dart. Be ready for her to use her nade though, which will stop you from getting lifesteal, so you better hit those shots when fighting her. If she's already used her nade, that's a bonus, as that's when you actually want to TP onto her and use your Wraith, as then you can keep getting lifesteal when fighting her. I do sometimes not use Wraith when I come out of TP instantly to risk just dodging the sleep dart myself, but obviously that's more risky. Ana has a lot of range on Reaper, so your best bet is to just TP on her. Be careful when you're about to spin near an Ana, as she can sleep dart your ult, which will cancel it, or she will nade you, which will stop you from getting healed when spinning, leaving you very vulnerable. So before I spin, I like to bait out at least one or if not both abilities. Baptiste. Bap is really strong. If you go for the 1v1 against the Bap, Bap will honestly most likely win. His burst rifle does a lot of damage, and he also has some very good abilities to keep him alive. When you TP on a Bap, he will most likely throw his immortality field when he gets low. This means you can't kill him unless you destroy the lamp first. He then has regenerative burst, which if he's below half health, he will gain 80 HP back. You see why pushing a Bap is risky? However, this does force him to use some crucial abilities, so even if you don't kill him, you are still helping your team by making him use these abilities, especially Lamp. If you think you can kill him after you destroy his Lamp, then go for it, but if you get too low, then just Wraith away back to safety. When you hear him ult, just hide, since the wall will do a ton of damage, especially for his team. Once he's used his wall, then you can push him. Before you spin against the Bap, try to bait out his Lamp and destroy it, but you still can get a lot of value with spin even if he uses Lamp. The next hero is Brig. Brig is nowhere near as bad to deal with compared to what she was like in Overwatch 1. However, pushing a Brig who knows what they are doing most of the time forces you to Wraith away. Her shield is a pain, as she can just bash you, doing 50 damage and then boop you away, also doing 80 damage. If you dodge one of these, especially a boop, then just try to destroy her shield or get as close to her as possible, but obviously, if you get low, just Wraith away from her. You'll most likely only kill her if she messes up her combo. When it comes to her ult, try not to use spin or wait for her to use her stun first. Her shield also gains a lot of health, so your best bet is to not spin when she uses rally and just focus her without it. However, if you see the chance to spin, take the risk. It might pay off, but best bet, just wait out the ult. Be careful when ulting near a Brig as well, as she can boop you away. Next, we have the newest hero in Overwatch, Illari. I'm still getting used to her, but you've kind of got to treat her like Widow a bit. Her gun doesn't do as much damage, obviously, but if she can hit her shots, it can still mess you up. So avoid being in her line of sight and staying in the open. If you can get close enough to destroying the healing pylon first, then do that. Destroying that first will allow you to kill her much quicker. If you TP onto her, be ready for her to use her boop ability. However, you don't want to TP next to the edge of the map if she has this ability, as she will most likely just boop you off. When she uses her ult, try to avoid it, but if you get caught with it, then just use Wraith to cleanse it. Or if you don't have Wraith and it's on you, you can sometimes time the TP ability to dodge the damage. Kiriko. Kiriko is another big counter for Reaper. The amount of times I've died when trying to kill a Kiriko is countless. She has TP, so she can get away instantly. She has Zuzu, so she can be invulnerable and gain a little bit of health too. So, if you can, I would honestly recommend trying to avoid her if she has Zuzu. But, if you have to fight her, then try your best to move unpredictably. She's really skinny too, which doesn't help as your spread is massive. If you see a Kiriko use her abilities, especially if she TPs and uses Zuzu at the same time, that is when you want to push her, since she can't escape escape easily and can't cleanse herself. Try to use your ult when she doesn't have Suzu, as Suzu can prevent you from getting any lifesteal, but even if she does use it, you can still get a lot of value with Spin. Lifeweaver. Lifeweaver is a weird one since I barely go against him. If he uses his petal platform to escape from you and he stays on it, shoot it to break it and then he'll drop, allowing you to kill him. If you see him use his dash, that's when you want to TP onto him so he can't get extra health and he can't keep his distance from you. Never try to push a Lifeweaver from a distance since he does a lot of damage now. When he uses his ult, I try to destroy his tree as quick as possible, but also use his tree for cover whilst doing this. Only shoot the tree if you are safe, as you don't want to shoot it whilst getting focused and die doing it. Try to use your ult when he doesn't have his tree, as his tree will counter your ult massively. Be careful pushing others when Lifeweaver has his grip ability, as it can really mess you up when you're trying to fight someone. Lucio. The frog can be a pain in the ass to deal with. His ult is very good for countering your ult and gives speed to his teammates and himself. So trying to catch up to Lucio is tough. Be aware of his boop if you are near the edge of the map, and get ready to use TP instead of Wraith. The amount of times I've seen Reaper players use Wraith instead of TP is insane, when they could have just TP'd backed up. Try to predict his boop with your Wraith if you have to, especially if he is low, as you might be able to just kill him before he zooms off. Try to also bait out his ultimate before you ult, or kill him before you ult. Before you ult, try to bait out the Lucio boop with your Wraith, as if he does get the boop on you, it'll mess up your ult completely. Mercy. Mercy is the Moth. Don't underestimate her Barbie pistol though. That thing can do some damage, but if you get close enough to her and hit your shots, then she isn't much of a threat. Most of the time though, she will be pocketing someone else, so if you can kill Mercy first, then do that. But if she's safe behind her pocket, then shoot the pocketed person, unless you can get closer to Mercy. If a Mercy is good with her movement, then it can be tricky trying to kill her. Try to predict where she will fly as good as you can. When she uses her ult, just hide from her, as she will most likely be really high trying to kill you, or she will just be healing or damage boosting her team. Best bet is to try and kill her if you can get close enough to her, but most of the time she'll be too high, so just shoot someone closer to you. Even if Mercy is really far away, keep shooting her, as it will stop her from getting her self-heal passive. This won't work if she's using her ult though. Moira. Moira isn't too bad to go against. All you have to do is try and make her use Fade, and then when she does use it, TP close to her again. You should win if you get close enough. However, be careful when going in tight spaces, as if she does put a damage orb inside it, it will do a lot of damage to you. So if you are low and see a Moira on full health, go inside, and you know she has orbs, don't push her. Just go for heals instead. When she ults, your best bet is to just wait it out, or if she fades and then try and TP next to her and get close and kill her, you might just be able to kill her, but it'll be tricky. And the final hero we'll be looking at is Zen. Zen is a pain in the ass. He does a lot of damage from a long distance and he floats so you can't hear him. The amount of times I've died to a Zen sneaking up on me is insane. His Discord is really strong too, as it basically gets rid of 25% of your health. However, if you can get the jump on Zen, his hitbox is pretty chunky, so just aim for his chest or obviously his head if you are really close. You should win against a Zen if you are really close, as long as you hit your shots. If you know a Zen has his ult and you want to ult, try to bait out his ult first by either getting him really low or even killing him. Then you can use ult without him messing up your ult. If he still saves his ult for your ult, try and combo with someone who can anti their team, such as Ana or Junker Queen ult. Then Zen won't be able to save his team from your ult. Zen does have a lot of range as well, so try not to go in the open. And that's it for now. This is my first proper Reaper guide, so I hope some of the things I've said helps you when fighting certain heroes. I'll be doing more Reaper guides in the future on Reaper TP spots and also general positioning. But for now, this guy will have to do. Let me know in the comments if it helps, or if you have any questions about something, I'll happily try my best to answer. Take care, guys. Have a good one.